Oh my god, that intro music gets better every time. Hello everybody, it's me, Riverwind, with a mouthful of protein.
And it's me, the screeching lady that jumps off the cliff. Caw-caw!
Hello, I'm dying, help!
And introducing John Arbuckle.
From the famous classic movie Garfield. And Garfield takes New York City.
That's me. It's me, John.
So, today we have a very, 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 very not special guest because he made us watch this movie. Will.
Hello.
How you doing, Will?
I'm doing all right.
Tell me something about yourself.
I have known both of you for eons.
Correct.
Damn. It was just like yesterday when I was raiding the Abyssinian Empire with my Norse buddies, and we saw this guy who was pretty chill. And we took him with us, and that's it. That's how I know Will.
I was fucking vibing in the sand nearby. I was just staring directly into the sun.
Yep. And I was like, "Hey, you want to come see some shit?" And you're like, "Yeah, let's go."
I was staring directly into the sun, and it seared the name of this movie into my eyeball.
So, for this movie that we watched, very sorry if you had to watch it with us, audience. We got Dragonlance. Dragons of Autumn Twilight. Now, as you know, we let our special guest choose the movies. William, why did you do this to me?
Alright, so I remember you specifically asked, hey, do you have a movie that would be fun to, talk about, it doesn't have to be a good movie. And I was like, it doesn't have to be a good movie. And
I know. That was one of those things, I was like, oh shit, god damn it. Fucking... Go ahead.
What I picked, it's Dragonlance, Dragons of Autumn Twilight is my favorite movie to talk about whenever people are like, hey, let's talk about your favorite bad movie. This is by far and away my favorite bad movie. We were talking about this before we started the show. I don't even know how I learned about this movie. I don't know how I gained knowledge of this piece of
music. Dude, I think
it appeared to you in a dream.
I think a witch tried to poison you, and then instead she just sent you a copy of this movie, thinking he was gonna curse you.
No, I think what happened was kind of like a Voldemort thing, where some evil wizard broke into my house and tried to kill me, and instead of killing me, I was scarred with the knowledge of this movie.
And then your mom died. That's the.
It's that thing where you're eating soup, but instead of pulling out a piece of glass, you pull out the DVD set.
Wait.
A piece of Robin, did you eat glass with your soup, my guy?
Robin.
Well, that's how you kill somebody. And now
that's how JFK died, don't you?
And now that I killed Will, let's go ahead and give a quick plot synopsis of the movie.
God,
now, I think
just read the fucking book.
Yeah.
No, I think this movie is actually very educational in what not to do, but in terms of animation. But in terms of plot,
I think we should preface this with so Dragonlance, Dragons of Autumn Twilight is actually an animated movie adaptation of a fantasy book, a novel. This thing's 450 pages long, and they said, yeah, we could turn that to an hour-and-a-half movie.
I don't that's the thing though. Is if you're gonna do a fantasy movie, you're gonna have to make this kind of stand out, because there were parts of this where a lot of the characters were either dead or dying, and I didn't feel like the emotional pull of it was actually necessary. I felt it was one of those things I was just why do you have any connection with this person? You met them literally maybe a day ago, and now you're crying over them? What the fuck, dude? Aren't y'all supposed to be warriors or some kind of shit? I get masculinity was different back then, but it wasn't that different, right? So
but that's the thing though, right? Is that this movie, it was a Dungeons and Dragons setting. It was the kind of thing that you're supposed to you pick up the supplemental material, get all the character sheets, and you get your friends together, and your friends pick characters and whatnot, and then you go on an adventure. But I'm pretty sure, so the movie might as well take place over the course of a weekend.
Yeah.
For how quickly things happen. But I'm pretty sure it's supposed to take place over several months, or even upwards of a couple of years.
So a Lord of the Rings kind of situation.
Right, like this is supposed to be like some sort of big epic adventure because it starts with that the fucking like god of evil has been revived by some dark sorcerer.
Yeah.
So like that's not something that's like a day trip, right?
Mm-mm. I mean, I don't know about you, but I was just about to call Balal. So I mean, hey, I'll let him know if y'all want anything from him. I can ask him.
Does he have any cheeses?
You might. I don't know. He might have those spicy jalapeno Cheez-Its in hell.
I only drink Arizona tea. Let him know that.
Damn, the most pagan of all drinks.
So he should have it, is what
I'm
you're
guessing.
saying.
I don't know. Dude. He's a sheep man. I'll ask him.
I mean, if he's a sheep man, he's got to at least have the can sitting around, right?
Oh, God.
It's like a midnight snack.
Yeah. Well, let's get this movie summary fucking over with, all right?
Yeah.
So the film begins with Greybeard, basically the narrator from Diablo, being like, back in the day, we used to have gods, but then they saw Rule 34 art, and they abandoned us. So now we no longer have healing magic. So that's the backstory. There used to be gods that provided healing magic to clerics, but disappointed in humanity, they left us.
Yeah.
So we got about 6 main characters who left on a 2-3 year journey just to meet back. They went trying to find proof that the gods haven't left. Now, we got Tanis the half-elf. Dad was a human, Mom was an elf, so he was into short girls. We got Sturm Brightblade. Best mustache. He did nothing. He's supposed to be like a warrior. He did nothing. Karaman Majiri, who's the barbarian type, who looks exactly like me if I was born in the United States. Rastish Majiri, who's his brother, who they're like the same age, but he's like a sickly old man because he sacrificed his body for powerful magic that he doesn't use in the movie.
I think that's the one that's voiced by Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
It might be.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one
I
that
have
looks
that here.
evil for no fucking reason, and he's a good guy, right? Like it's.
No, yeah, you're right. That was Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
It's so funny because he looks like in the movie he's like this crusty old evil warlord looking guy, but like all the official art of Raceland makes him look like just a magic twink.
Dude,
Yeah.
I know.
My favorite kind.
Oh my god. Can he come over, please?
Can we get him on the show? Kiefer Sutherland, I know you're listening.
I know you wanna talk about a movie other than Spider-Man where you're the caca man, but come on, let's go.
No, don't worry. He's not listening. We don't have a way to contact him, but I can find him. Don't worry. Next, we got Flint Fireforge, the dwarf man who's very old and very grumpy. We got Tasselhoff Burfoot, the twink of the group. He's the thief. And then we got Kiatara Uthmatar for having no dialogue in this entire movie. She was still voiced. So
I can't even find I've got like the Wikipedia page pulled up for this movie right now, and I can't even find their name on the cast list.
You can't? No?
No.
Oh shit.
So like the 3 years is up, and they're like, all right, we're gonna meet at this bar in 3 years. So everybody's traveling back. They meet up, but Kitiara couldn't show up because she was being a bitch or something. And at the bar, they meet 2 people. Gold Moon, who's in possession of this mystical staff, and Riverwind, who looks just like me. He looks exactly like me.
Yeah. I would like to point out that Gold Moon is Lucy Lawless's character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Our queen has fallen.
So somebody gets set on fire at the bar. I forget. He was like pushed into a fireplace, and then Lucy, well, no, not Lucy, the little guy smacked him with her staff, and he was healed. And they're like, oh, healing magic.
Magic is real.
And then they tried to burn her at the stake. But the group was like, hey, listen, no, you stick with us now. You belong to us. Let's go. So after adventures, they learned that, yes, the gods have returned, and they're using Gold Moon as their main cleric. Now, plot, story. There's this other guy whose name I completely forgot. The bad man McFierceface.
You know he's evil because he wears a helmet with horns and a skull on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's also blonde.
Yeah.
I know. You know what's odd is that
He's also
Savannah.
black.
You know what's odd is that Savannah actually like said this to me the other day when we were walking Cash. She was like, "I don't trust blonde-haired adult men." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And she was just like, "What?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? When did this come up in conversation?" And she's like, "They're just like they're shifty. I don't believe it." I'm like, "What? Do you think they're Nazis, my girl?" She's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, all right, yeah." Just. Just,
So
what is
strange.
it? Like, does everyone just hate blonde-haired adult men? Like, it's just kind of like, fuck those people.
I hate them because I'll never be beautiful.
Okay.
They were the men that came over and destroyed your whole planet.
Well, no, but it's okay. They gave us these very warm, itchy blankets.
Actually,
Anyways.
wait, Robinson. So So already we were joking about, Riverwind is you. You need to. I know this is an audio show, but I really want you to see this picture, like this official art. It's not going to be hard to describe, which is why I'm okay with it.
So what we can do is we'll tweet it out later at NerdHellPodcast on
Hell yeah.
Twitter. Yes.
All right. So,
Oh, and I figured out bad man's name. His name is Verminard.
Oh
my god.
Yo, what the fuck?
Dude, that's official art from the books of Goldmoon and Riverwind.
They look so.
They might as
dude,
well have just gotten my dad.
You might as well just like burn all copies of this movie and just be like, dude, just read the book. It might just be like a blank
Honestly.
screen with it might be a title screen that just says, "Hey, read the book. Just read the fucking book."
Please just read the book.
Real quick to describe this, we got Goldmoon on a horse next to Riverwind on a horse, and yes, it looks like my dad.
Like for our American listeners, who I'm assuming is most of you, shout out to anybody who's listening to this from anywhere else. Why are you watching this? But like if you can imagine in like an old like rundown restaurant in the middle of fucking nowhere America, and like a picture of like a painting of a Native American on like a landscape on the wall. It's got the exact same energy as that.
Yeah.
It's like Goldmoon, who's like this, like perfect, like blonde-haired, blue-eyed lady wearing like a Dances with Wolves kind of fucking outfit on like a spotted horse next to Riverwind, who looks exactly like Robinson's dad.
Dude, like,
also sitting on like a spotted horse.
dude, like I'm not joking. Like looking at this picture right now makes me think that they're First Nationers rather than from like the like fantasy realm. I'm not joking,
Yeah.
right? They have the drip of like Great Plains natives. Like that's the
Yeah, but then you look at like all of the other official art of all the other characters might as well be from fucking Tolkien. Like,
That was one thing I did want to say about this movie was that this movie reminded me of like the old J.R.R. Tolkien, like the Lord of the Rings movies that you would rent from the library when you were bored.
yeah, like the really fucking crusty
That
ones.
had like what was it? Pink Floyd helped produce the soundtrack to that kind of one.
Oh yeah, it's like the one where they have like the weird slave songs for the orcs. They're like,
Yeah.
They're like, we don't want to go to war today, while they're fucking marching through the mountains.
Ah, yes, Bright with Will Smith.
Oh my god, no. Dude, that movie was also
Anyways.
bad. Like, I cannot take Will Smith
That was
seriously
awful.
anymore. I can't. Just whatever he says, and I said this on the last episode of the podcast, anytime he does anything like kind of like serious, I'm like, you're not serious right now. I don't know if you are. I don't trust you. You've been in way too many funny things, and you have that, rewind time kind of like feel to you right now.
Yeah.
I can't. He's been
Look,
ruined.
can I come back for a future episode about Bright?
Dude, let's do it. I'm not joking. Let's
Bro,
fucking
yes.
do it.
Me
Yeah.
neither. That was a bad movie.
It was a
Oh
bad
my
movie.
god, it had such a good premise too, and they just completely demolished
Yeah,
it.
I don't know what it was. It might have been like because the script was solid, right? So the script was solid. I feel that they should have made the movie longer and gone more into world building. They just kind of were like, "Oh yeah, here you go. It's police with fantasy stuff. Enjoy.
Mhm.
Now shut their fucking mouths and just watch the movie." I'm like,
How does this have a 6.3 on IMDb? All right, we're talking about the wrong movie.
yeah. We need to talk about.
Go on.
See, this is how bad this movie. This is how bad this movie is that we want to talk
We
about
want to
anything
talk
else.
about anything
Yeah.
else.
We want to talk about Bright instead.
Bright makes this film look like fucking, I don't know, Jesus, what is it? Like Yeah, it does. It like makes this film look like Casablanca, right? So
fucking Citizen Kane, right?
Yeah, Citizen Kane. That was what I was thinking of. Like, in comparison, it's like, oh my god. It used to remind me, there was a direct-to-home DVD of, like, the old Hercules series with, like, Kevin Sorbo and, like, Lucy Lawless when she was Xena back in the day. And they had one where it was, like, they had to go defeat Titans. And it reminded me of, like, the shittier Walmart broke-ass version of that movie. And I was like, I would rather watch that movie right now. And it's just as bad, right? Because it's still that, like, funky, clunky kind of script. And it still has the clunky animations, but it's just better. It is better in every way than this movie.
So where did we leave off? I don't know if we really need. There's like a whole lot more to summarize, honestly.
Can I just summarize the rest of it?
Go on. We left off talking about Captain Evil.
Yeah, it's Verminard.
So apparently there's this giant goddess, like she's gonna destroy the world, and so it's up to the people to go and try to fight this demon goddess, but they have to find a magical relic, an artifact that they call, I don't know, what is it? A staff, right? That they call a staff.
The Discs of Majorade?
Yeah, you can go ahead. You can go ahead and finish it out because I'm just gonna insult this movie, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, like the rest of the movie is like so completely disjointed. Like after we get through like the introduction of the main characters and sort of like what their quest is, which was already kind of what the hell's going on.
Right.
Like there's like 7 different things that happen that don't feel connected in any way. Like they go to fucking Rivendell with like some fucking Pegasi. And like one of the main characters has like this huge fucking like emotional revelation or something that isn't important for the rest of the movie. Right. They'd get captured and sold into slavery for like 10 minutes, and then like do a slave revolt. They go visit like an elven city, and I think they beat the fuck out of some elves because the elves are racist or something. And like a whole bunch of stuff happens like between these things too.
Yeah.
So it's like watching 3 different episodes of SpongeBob. You get 6 different plots.
Yeah, no, that's what it feels like. But the thing that really gets me about this movie, specifically, is like the production of it. Like,
before we do that, we gotta finish up the story.
Oh God,
I got some shit to say about that.
God, what is there? I guess they kind of try to pull it together right at the end there.
Yeah.
So what happened is that Gold Moon, she died, right? But then she came back and she's like, my faith in God resurrected me. Was the staff? Oh, the staff is inside me now. All right, cool. Let's keep going. And then they go to Big Bad Verminard. And, there was this old man with them, Greybeard, who apparently was Jesus Christ the entire time. And he was like, the gods never left, and you were faithful, so now let me just beat the fuck out of this demon bitch. And so he did. And that was the movie. Oh, no, the movie ended. Remember that one girl, the main character who wasn't credited, Kitiara? It was like, the movie ended with Tannis being like, man, I wish Kitiara was here to see this. And then it does that like, haha, Kitiara was the bad guy all along. She is the dragon bitch. And then it ends the movie. It set it up for a sequel that I'm pretty sure never came out.
Dude, can I talk about how unapologetically horny this movie is for a second?
Yes! Oh my god! Oh my god, yes! We can talk about that for the rest of the fucking episode. Holy shit.
Oh, dude, just within, I'm looking at my notes right now, right? So I'm looking at my notes, and my first notes are goblins fucking thing up and this bitch just cleaning a bar. And then she turned to the side and I went, giant tits. And then like a couple of notes down, it says, unnecessary boob jiggling when they comment on how she grew up from a little girl. Like, they had to make sure the audience knew for a fact that she was no longer a child. So let's get some extra animation.
This is like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
So what happens is that it turns out the white version of me in this movie is more like me because he's staring at this white girl just walk away and it shows her butt.
That's right. What's that Goldmoon?
Yeah, he's like,
that wasn't Goldmoon. That was the barmaid.
Spiced potatoes? You got any spiced potatoes? And she's like, yeah, we got some. And then he takes a bite and she flirts with him. I'm like, you slut. Just
Bro, there's nothing more sexy than a man who's 300 pounds, just came back from the gym, just shoving potatoes in his mouth.
I mean,
Robinson, you joke, but I've described you to my friends, some of my friends who've never met you before, and they're like, "Is he single?"
You know what? Give them my LinkedIn profile. That's the only place. That's the only place where I have a good headshot.
Yeah,
hey, baby.
Like, what is it? Even at the end, when they had, like, the Chaos Goddess, right? Like, her outfit was essentially... Takesis, right? Takesis. I wrote Takesis Bikini, and then I put below it, why is this unnecessarily horny? Like, is this, like... This is the...
like the thing,
this is the reason...
This is the thing.
This is the thing, my guy, though, Will, is that this is exactly why the stereotype of nerds being repressed, horny little fuckers came from. Was this material?
Bring that up.
Look, here's the thing, though, is that A, it's fact, but B, also, like, Takesis for, like, a 99% of the movie is, like, this fucking five-headed Hydra demon.
Yeah.
And then right at the end, they're like, yeah, let's give her tits.
Yeah, for no reason.
Now that we bring that up, I actually had a point to make. Because this movie tries to blend animation styles. We got digital art.
We have to talk about it.
I'm talking about it right now. We got digital art, which is like the main animation. We have some hand-painted like watercolor art that only shows up in backgrounds. And for some reason, all the lizard folk are like this god-awful 3D CGI, and it looks so bad. Now, here's the thing. You can do it correctly. Like, for example, Courage the Cowardly Dog. Because, like, almost every monster in that show had a different animation style, and it was good because it was unsettling, right? In this movie, when they're just trying to fit in, it looks horrible. Remember the scene where they're just walking, like, next to the dead forest? Yeah. And then the monks show up, and they look like rancid burritos?
Yeah, dude. Like, I remember that part, and I was like, I sat there, and I gave out this biggest sigh. I was like, oh, it's one of these movies again. Like, it was like the dragon stuff. It was one of those things that it looked like someone from the Career Center made. And I was like, okay, I would give that an A. That's some good amateur work. But no, this was a professional animation studio, right? And it was, I was just
I wanted
also, the fire and smoke was like green screen.
Yeah.
God, the fire was God. That's what I wanted to touch on that a little bit actually. So like not only was this 3D like already pretty bad, but like they tried doing stuff with it that you should only try if it was good. Like they had the 2D like cardboard cutout characters that looked like Captain Planet and the Planeteers, like having like fight scenes with these guys where they're like interacting with these 3D characters, and it's the most janky garbage. But like that's the like you had mentioned, like if this was like amateur work, like yeah, sure, whatever. But like they had like a fucking like 5-star crew on this. The
Paramount and Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, it was distributed by Paramount. It was directed by, I made a Planeteers joke, but it was directed by the guy who did Captain Planet. The director, Will Mojnio. He was a writer and storyboard artist for like most of like the 80s and 90s. Like he did the Planeteers, he did the DNA Drinks, he did Earthworm Jim, Godzilla, G.I. Joe, Johnny Quest. This dude did the Ghostbusters animated series. He did the RoboCop animated series. He did several Spider-Man ones. Like this man knew what he was doing. Like I think the most interesting credits that we can't find on the Wikipedia page anyway is the two people on the crew that don't have a Wikipedia page are the producer and the writer. They don't have Wikipedia pages.
I'm just gonna say that they don't deserve one. They don't get it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, because what I was looking at this movie, because you had talked about the art, director Will Mujino, and Mujino did like X-Men Evolution, like one of my favorite X-Men series, no doubt. Like
he was the storyboard artist.
Yeah, like, and he also did like a lot of the Spider-Man like things too. and like just I was like, how like what went wrong in this movie? Like what happened? Did y'all like have a brain aneurysm halfway through and then just decide, I think we're done, right? Like I think
yeah, we're done.
Also, one other thing that bothered me. So I want to bring up my worst animation scene in this. Remember when the guy was on fire, so they smacked him with a staff? They literally used like flash web browser animation to like move this. Like nobody was holding the staff. The staff just came on the top layer of animation, and they just rotated the staff.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about.
You know what's kind of frustrating?
They got like a JPEG.
You know what's kind of frustrating is that man like was incinerated when he went into the thing, and then all of a sudden he's fine, and then he just comes out and he starts running around and like shaking, like he's not even burning, right? He just like, oh, and then the guy's just like, here, get him out so we can beat him, and then like the guy just like hits him with the stick and hits him with the staff, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I'm better. And
I'm back.
It was just like when that guy with basically the Chinese armor set, right? Like he's a Western knight, and he has a Chinese helmet and a fucking armor set.
Sturm.
And he's like, I'm a perfectly Western knight, but for some reason I was on the Silk Road like 5 years ago, and this guy just like he gets fucking slashed above his eyebrow, and then all of a sudden he's bleeding out through his stomach, and I'm like, what? What happened?
Which is another thing I want to bring up, because like in the beginning of this movie, like they had scenes where people would get slashed with swords and stabbed, no blood. And there was a scene where I think they were fighting a draconian, and they beat the lizard with the sharp end of the sword, and the lizard reacted like it was a blunt weapon. So like half the time, these sharp objects were just blunt weapons.
Yeah. Like, I haven't read the book that this movie is based off of, but I really want to give the book the benefit of the doubt that it actually makes sense. Right. like apparently like the Dragonlance series, this is showing how young I am. Apparently the Dragonlance series was really beloved when it was sort of like, you know, first coming out. You know, it was sort of it was like, I want to say it was an advanced D&D setting, which was like, you know, D&D 2. It was advanced D&D and eventually D&D 5e, or not 5e, 3.5e. And it was apparently like a really popular. People loved it. People were doing campaigns in it all the time. They loved the campaign setting. They loved the books, and like they make this movie, and it's a fucking slap in the face of this like a beloved franchise.
Yeah. It's like, hey, let me make you like your mom's old mac and cheese, and then I'm just gonna take a shit right in the middle of it, and then just be like, here you go, enjoy. You better eat all of it, or you're never gonna see another animated movie again. Just, dude, I know this is kind of petty, but the historian in me was really mad at one point because they kept calling it a staff. It's a partisan. That's what it is. Like
it is.
It's a partisan. They're like, give me the staff. I'm like, wrong thing, my guy. Like, obviously, like, why would an orc grab the magician's staff and ask for the staff if they're looking for a partisan? They're looking for a partisan spontoon. I'm like, that's not the same thing.
Like, my thing is like, stabs aren't sharp.
Yeah.
Stabs aren't pointy. Like this quote unquote stab, very clear. It's like a Chinese style glaive with a gem inset in it.
No, that's what I mean. Because like in like the partisan, right, has the double axes on the next to the spear.
Right.
And so I was just looking at this and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what are you guys doing? Why are you like? Are you clear? Like, if you're gonna make it a staff, then make it a staff. Number one, why is a partisan like a deadly weapon of war used in the 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries to murder thousands and thousands of people as a healing weapon? It's like, Yeah, and it's like fucking Inuyasha. If you ever seen that show, Inuyasha, there's like the dangerous assassin, like brother, has a sword that can heal people when he cuts them. And I'm like, why? What the fuck, dude?
It's not an axe. It's a bardiche.
By the way, that's a Dungeon Dynamite reference. Everybody go watch that right now. It's a fucking incredible. Like, I was just actually, this is a good segue. I was gonna say, like, if the rest of the movie was good, you could chalk up something like that to be like satire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if you want like actual like a D&D animated satire, go watch Dungeon Dynamite. It's really fucking funny. It plays on a lot of the tropes. It's what Robinson was just referencing.
By Crazy Boris Productions on YouTube. And I actually did want to mention it because we're shitting a lot on the animation. Here's the thing, you don't need fantastic animation because Dungeon Dynamite is one of the funniest, best D&D animated series I've ever seen. And it's made by one guy in like browser flash animation. Does it look great? Not at all. It does look way better like past episode 3.
Yeah, no, you can definitely see him like improving, but it's definitely amateur.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. But we just want to bring that up because you don't need great animation to make a great movie. So this movie gets double shit on because a Russian man with a MacBook did a better job than they did. But real quick, we're hitting our 30-minute mark, so we're going to take a break real quick, folks. I need to make more protein shake, and we'll be back in a second.
We'll scream some more once you come back from the break.
Gold Moon, it's me, Riverwind. I am in love with you, but we cannot be together, for you are white, and I am ambiguous at best. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Yeah, I didn't understand that part either. It was one of these things of just like, what rule was this? When was this ever established in the first place? What the fuck is happening with this movie?
It made sense with Tanis because Tanis was two different breeds, right? He was human and elven, so it made sense. But with Riverwind, it was just kind of slightly racist.
It was just classical racism, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like fantasy has always been like that thing of like protest. Have you ever read the Witcher novels? The Witcher novels are all about like how like racism is
they're basically just race relations.
Yeah, like it's one of those things of like the Witcher novels are like very much like an expression of like anti-racism and that kind of thing. And like all like even Lord of the Rings, that kind of shit, like there's still like this thing of like anti like racism within it. Like the whole like love between Aragorn and like the elf lady is like is one of those like really big things. And just it's one of those of you expect it between like what was it, one of the, have you ever seen the Dark Elf series? I used to date someone who was really into the Dark Elf series, and so I read one of the books, and it's like taking place from the point of view of this dark elf who's a girl who falls in love with a human man, and that's like forbidden. And it's like, okay, I can kind of get that, right? Because dark elves are supposed to be like really big into like black magic and like really evil, or like have that kind of stereotype about them
because they're black, literally.
I think like the cover made her purple skinned or something like that, which was kind of...
that's definitely, I feel like that's a bit more of a, it's
yeah.
You know, it's
no,
the whole
I
sort of
get
black purple skin
I
thing.
I get with the whole imagery. I get the whole imagery, right? I understand the whole thing, right? So it's one of those of like, I like fantasy novels because they do the work of like trying to establish that. And then this movie just kind of like throws that out there, like real racism. Here you go. And I'm just like, oh shit. Yeah, right? Like the black guy who had his arm cut off, and they're just like not repulsed by him. Like everyone else is fucking white as fuck. And there's this one black guy in that slaver like arc where, you know, his arm is cut off. And it's like, please heal him. And she does it. You know why? Because racism for them is like, oh no, you're dating a dwarf. They're going to have little tiny stubby kids and that kind of thing. And
you're going to make a fucking halfling.
I know, right? Like it's one of those things of like, okay, but then like there's actual like genetics here, but like human race and skin is literally fucking nothing. And so like seeing that kind of in a fantasy novel was really jarring to me. Yeah. It was like, oh, okay.
They never established that he's from like a different continent or something. He was just dark because the brother was yellow and nobody gave a shit about him.
Yeah, his brother's like a high elf.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, right. Like it's just what is happening? Like what is going on? Like,
He also had like black widow eyes, but they were yellow widow eyes.
Yeah, the fucking Raceland is this fucking like he's like a fucking Skyrim high elf. He's got like the silver hair and the yellow skin.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why they made him so fucking crusty in the movie.
like why did they make
Like,
him so fucking evil? Right? Like he's supposed to be
Like,
a good guy.
price for
Yeah.
magic.
here's the fucking thing is that like he's supposed to be like he's supposed to be like this high elf, like
Yeah.
the fair skin, the long hair, like sort of stereotypically beautiful kind of elf, and in the movie he's this fucking goblin.
And there were actual goblins in the movie, and somehow he still
Yeah.
looked worse.
So I want to read some of my notes that I have for y'all.
Please
Are you
do.
ready?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so one of the things is just like after I said goblins fucking things up and this bitch is cleaning a bar. I wrote tons of reused animation. Dragon Lady base jumping, screaming, so fucking funny.
That was like
what the fuck is she doing?
That was the first time and last time we saw her.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, no, because she dies because she's the dragon that is randomly asleep in this jail, like this.
Oh,
this
that
vault,
was her?
right? Yeah, that was her.
They did nothing to
So-
establish that.
Well, because she can talk, right, as a dragon. So obviously it's like henchmen who have had the ability to shapeshift, and she's one of them. Plus, it was one of those things of like one of my notes was just like, why is she breathing like she's having sex, right? Why is she? Because she's having that airy voice too of when she's talking, and I'm just like, again, unnecessarily horny. And then the other,
Oh my god, that whole fucking scene though, like towards the end of the movie in like the prison,
yeah.
like that whole fucking scene is like, oh my god, are you guys okay?
Yeah.
Like,
Do I need to call y'all
like
a
you guys need to go
therapist?
touch some fucking grass.
I
Yeah.
know. Just like, what was it? The other thing I've noticed was random light flares.
Yes.
You know, like in the
Yes.
like the Star Trek
Yeah.
movie that like what was it? That fucker made. What was his name? The guy that did the original like episode 7 of Star Wars. What's his fucking name? I can't remember.
The original episode.
Like did episode 7 of Star Wars, right? So, yeah, but he did the Star Trek movies too. He did the Star Trek movies.
Oh, fucking J.J.
Yeah,
Abrams.
J.J. Abrams, like J.J. Abrams light
Yeah,
flares,
yeah.
right? He did so many light flares, it became kind of his thing that he had to apologize for it. There were so many
Right.
unnecessary light flares in this movie. Like when the wizard is sitting down, all of a sudden you see a zoom in on his face and light flare.
Yes.
And
Yes. Oh my god! But like, at least with like the J.J. Abrams movies, at least it like you could like it kind of make
Right.
the excuse that's like, oh, it's post processing.
Right.
But like, no, they like this is fucking like 2D animated movie.
Yeah.
It looks so out
yeah,
of place.
and it's one of those things. The other part I put was, "Why the beard? Weren't you ugly enough?" And then I like quoted that one, and I was like, "Says the stubby man that has a knife, and then apparently magically picks up an axe from randomly nowhere, where it was nowhere in the scene before."
It was in his pants.
And then-
Don't worry.
The other one about it is like. The hobgoblin with the other goblins comes out and says, "No one's allowed to walk after dark, but it's daylight."
Yeah, it's like perfectly light out.
And then I was like, then the other part was, why was the spit so animated?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that was-
Yeah.
Then the next one was, did the dwarf not going to pick up his axe? Like, but then he gets mad that the thief has his knife. Like, you just gonna waste a perfectly good axe, my guy?
I was gonna
Like,
say, was
what
the
if-
thief's weapon a fishing pole? It was a stick with a string attached. He might have.
it was an actual fucking staff, right? So that's the thing. Oh man.
But like also like the fucking thing with the goblins where it's like no one's allowed to be out after dark, and then they have the whole fucking like chase scene and the fight scene, and then it is nighttime.
Yeah. What was it? It was it was something really kind of interesting that I noticed. God, what was it? It was the other one. It was like, if no one's supposed to be out after dark, why is the bar full?
Yeah, like the fucking bar's like packed with people.
Right?
Yes, and Barmaid knows they're all there.
Yeah. Jesus, right? Like, I was looking at that and I was just whatever. And then Another one, I was just like, okay, tavern full, and then I put cringe magic guy when they introduce the guy who's like, my power is so awful, and then he goes,
Bro, he did
like
he did nothing that entire movie because there was that one bit where he's like, "Oh, I will put a spell on our inventory. If anybody touches it, they will be." First of all, he said, "Eaten by the worm, Caterpilaris." Caterpilaris? Are you killing me? You can do better than that. But second of all, that was a joke because his brother's like, I've never heard that demon. In fact, you've never told me about that spell. And he looks back at him and just gives him a wink, meaning, no, it was a fake spell. I just made the leaves like move around me. It was a trick. What the fuck magic did you get if you can't cast caterpillar spell? Like what?
I know.
Like also, but like, what's the fucking point of doing?
I know. Like the other part of this that I was noticing is, did y'all notice that the hobgoblin has eyes that are regular, but the regular goblins have black eyes?
Yeah, no, that was. I remember the first time I watched this movie, I was really off put by that. I was like, the fucking hobgoblins got like these fucking baby blues, and then like the regular goblins just have like fucking doll eyes.
And then like my last note was tons of emotional whiplash. I think it was one of those things of like someone's like dies and then like they're just like revived and they're just like thank you and then they go on like nothing happened. Like I'm like
yeah, I remember like the I think the main scene that has like sort of the most emotional whiplash that I always struggle to remember just because it's so hard to remember any of it was the fucking scene where they like go into a ruin and I think there's like a dragon horde or something, but then like they were also like yeah, that's where Goldmoon dies, and then like there's also like they revive Goldmoon, but I think somebody else like also almost dies, but then they're like, oh no, it's okay, we got the healing magic back.
Because Riverwind.
Yeah, Tannis almost.
Riverwind was like, no, we don't like you because you are a half blood, and I do that because I was racism against once, and so he's like, oh no, I was being bad. So he carries Tannis out of the cave. He's like, my hatred is what killed them. And Goldmoon was like, let me just queef on his face real quick. Okay, he's back.
I'm sure all these characters have a lovely amount of depth and backstory in the actual book series. But like in this movie, they're like they have less character than like cardboard cutouts.
Bro, this is where characters come to die.
That's the problem that I have is that this movie is not made for outside audiences, right? Like, wouldn't this movie be something that you'd want to do in order to get more people interested in the Dragonlance series? Then maybe you should spend some time to fucking explain the goddamn movie, right? Like, it's not that hard to do. It's not that hard to establish. But the other thing is that, like, you need to give, like, in movies, and I say this all the time, right? It is a show, don't tell kind of thing. If you're actually developing a bond between these characters to the point where the dwarf cries when good old Chinese armor guy gets fucking stabbed in the eye and then bleeds from his stomach and dies, then actually have a scene where the dwarf and this guy have a moment, right? Have something like that earlier in the morning, like movie, and then go on your day and then get to that. Don't just like all of a sudden be like, oh, we were best friends.
Yeah,
that doesn't work.
They just drop shit on us like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, all right, so this is actually something we were talking about during the break. So the Dragonlance like franchise is like dearly beloved. It's been around since like 1984, and it had a huge following. Like the book series itself, the book series that this movie is based off of, has 163 mainline novels. Just the main series has 163 books. It is a sprawling fucking series. It's a series based off of a Dungeons and Dragons campaign setting. So there's details and world building for like every single fucking square inch of this universe. And they did absolutely no justice for it in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, it was one of those things of, it was like, if I was someone who didn't know about anything about, like, Dungeons and Dragons, like, I would hate this movie even more. I'd just be like, I hate Dungeons and Dragons, right? Because that's one of the things of, like, this movie is just unnecessarily horny. The movie's unnecessarily animated.
And I was gonna say
the script is dense, and it's not explaining any of this density. You gotta lighten it up for other people. Like, that's it. And so, like, sorry, Robinson, go ahead.
No, it's completely fine. Because I was gonna say, growing up, I watched a lot of animated TVs. And we always bought like DVD sets at garage sales, so we had like all of the Caterpilaris, Teddy Ruxpin, The Secret World of Benjamin Bear. So I know about all of these like child animations, and they used a bunch of the same animation techniques in this movie. And I'm like, well, if you want to make something that's fine for kids and adults, that's okay. But yeah, why did you make it so horny? Like, we did not need to see Caramon lust after the barmaid's ass. We did not need to see that. You could have skipped it, and it wouldn't have been fine.
So actually, on that note, I decided to look up the writer because he doesn't have a Wikipedia page. This dude, George.
He doesn't
Strait.
exist.
No, he does exist, but apparently he's just bad at everything. So he's mildly prolific writer. He's got 6 writing credits on his IMDb page, which includes Dragonlance. He wrote for the series. He wrote 1 episode for the series Cleopatra 2525, which has a 5.9 on IMDb, which is, I will have you know, 4.4 points lower than Dragonlance. He also wrote for a series. He actually wrote for the Xena Warrior Princess TV series, the live-action one. He also wrote for a series called Mech X4, which he did like 16 episodes where he was a writer for it. It has only 1.1 better than Dragonlance, apparently. It looks like it was animated pretty well. This fucking mech looks pretty dope. But he also wrote for a TV series called October Faction, which is also, it was like a Netflix original that was also rated worse than fucking Dragonlance on IMDb.
A Netflix original. That's it. I'm gonna sign up for my own Netflix original. Damn it.
What's the Netflix original again?
It's called October Faction.
October Faction.
It looks like it was filmed in the same house as Knives Out, but they removed a bunch of rooms.
Did they just decide, like, hey, October Faction, let's just go ahead and like have a communist revolution with mechs?
God, if only. Apparently, it's like some sort of like murder thriller. Oh no, it's also like sci-fi fantasy. What the hell is this? Hold on, let me give you. We'll move on from this in a second, but let me give you the quick synopsis.
We just found this. You're going on the journey with us, viewers. We have no idea what this is.
Yeah, but this is all on the air. We discovered something. Yeah. A semi-retired couple, already off to a good start, who work for a clandestine monster hunting agency, discover dark family secrets and the truth about their employer after their magically inclined, nigh-adult kids reawaken a witch bent on revenge. So it's like a family drama, but it's like imagine Danny Phantom if he was trying to be serious instead of being a children's show. That sounds like what October Faction
Okay, but is there any like goth girl that I can like aspire to be in this one?
I don't know. They have some pretty generic fashion sense. Here, I'll send the picture in the chat so you can see if there's any of these. That's the main sort of, the front page.
That is the
picture.
most generic.
There's
I'm tweeting this out too. This is the most generic shit I've seen in my life.
This is literally nothing about the show. Like, nothing.
There's nothing interesting about this show on this IMDb page. There's just nothing interesting about this.
Yeah, just
like nothing here. Nothing here is hooking me.
Dude, so y'all want to know actually like what the inspiration for this like main villain is? Like, because I was looking at it, because what is it? A multi-headed...
Oh, fucking Takesis?
Yeah, Takesis.
Yeah, no, not Verminard,
okay,
Takesis.
Yes. Okay. Dragon with boobs.
So, Takesis, right? So Takesis, the dragon with multiple heads, and obviously the dragon goddess of chaos, right, is actually like a one-on-one copy of the Babylonian god Tiamat. So Tiamat,
which is funny because
if you don't know,
I was gonna say they already had Tiamat
I know.
in like the Dungeons and Dragons,
right? And that's the funny. They could have just pulled Tiamat from that kind of thing. But the whole idea is that, like, for our listeners who don't know, I'm just going to go ahead and give you kind of a little story about who Tiamat is and why this person relates to that. So Tiamat was considered to be like the saltwater dragon of Babylonian mythology, and her husband Abzu, who's the freshwater dragon, their mixture created the gods. And so one of the gods, known as Ea, was the, like, basically Loki of the deal. And he tried to create humans out of clay, but it turned out to be these hideous kind of fixtures. So Abzu tried to stop it, but was killed by Ea. And so, obviously, with the god of order and fresh water dead, you have Tiamat, who is the literal goddess of chaos in salt water, go fucking crazy, and creates an army of demons and monsters that are capable of destroying gods, and has a like almost devil-like person that's going to lead this army, known as Chingu. And Chingu is like beating all the gods left and right, to the point that the gods are like, oh shit, we might actually lose this one, because mom is hella mad. Like, mom's going to fucking kill us.
Mom's got
and
the
out
belt.
pops And out pops this guy named Marduk. So Marduk is this like Babylonian god who has like the ability to speak words and things happen, right? He has like this special ability of just like saying words and things go through. And Marduk, who has this, comes up to them and he's like, hey, you guys are a bunch of fucking pussies. Give me the like title of Lugal, which was like king of the gods, and I will like take care of Tiamat for you. And so they're like, okay, sure, whatever, you fucking weirdo. Like, he's gonna die, because if the god of war cannot kill the goddess of chaos, then obviously no one can. And so, you know, what is it? Marduk kills Tiamat with using his magic words, and then splits her, cuts her into 4 equal sections, where he creates the heavens and the earth from her body. He creates the Tigris and the Euphrates from her eyes, the mist from her spittle, the mountains from her breasts, and then uses the bones for, like, you know, other kinds of things. But the final thing that he does is that, like, Marduk does what Ea, like, what started this whole conflict, and Marduk creates humans out of Tiamat's blood. And so, according to Babylonian mythology, that's one of the reasons why humans are so chaotic, but can also have great order to them in a sense, also. So we're capable of great violence, but we're also capable of great, like, you know, progression. And
right.
Yeah. And the whole idea of this, like, chaos goddess who's just angry for no fucking reason, like, just sings like 100% like it's Tiamat. Like, that's it.
Well, so all right.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So Tiamat is like part of the D&D mythos. Tiamat is as she is depicted in Dragonlance. She's this sort of amalgam of the 5 different kinds of chromatic dragons, which is the name for the different colors of dragons. I believe there's also metallic dragons. I might be mixing that up with RuneScape,
right.
but I'm pretty sure
who knows?
But I'm pretty sure there's metallic dragons in D&D as well. So there's the green, blue, red, white, and black dragons from Dungeons & Dragons.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about Takesis. So originally Takesis was just sort of inspired by Tiamat. But as of Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition, which nobody cares about, Takesis just is Tiamat. They're the same character. Because originally Takesis was just, you know, the Dragonlance big bad, but like eventually they were just like, they're the same.
Well, because like in the movie, because
here's
the other thing is that, like, if you look at and I'm citing this from upenn.edu, right? So obviously I'm looking at like an actual historical website. They were saying that like Tiamat frequently appears either as a body of water or as a human female, very beautiful, having a dragon tail. That's it. So,
I love
like,
My Hero
the whole fact
Academia.
is that at the ending, right? At the ending, when she has her armor, she also has a tail. So that's why I was like, okay, yeah. So this is Tiamat, right? And then I was like confused, like you, right? Like, it was like, they already have Tiamat. Just fucking use Tiamat, dude. Like, you don't have to.
Right.
Like,
I think it was because at that point, I don't know if Dragonlance was like an official Wizards of the Coast property yet. So they were just like, oh, we'll give it a different name. We'll go with the Thesis. But
Tiamat is not even a copyrighted thing. She's an ancient god, right? That's the.
But I think they were worried about people just being like, oh, fuck, you're just copying Wizards of the Coast. But like, then it became a Wizards of the Coast property, and then Wizards of the Coast was just like, yeah, no, they're the same character.
Oh my god, what the fuck? Okay, yeah, but the other thing is that, like, the whole thing is that after you defeat Tiamat, after Marduk defeats Tiamat, she never shows up again. Like, the whole idea is that, like, chaos has been subdued by the gods. That's why you give them thanks. And can I also talk about how Greybeard just kind of randomly, nowhere, just like, now I'm going to be helpful because you have faith. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. Get the fuck out of here.
The entire movie, he was like, what was that spell again? Oh, yes, fireball. Yes.
How do you forget that? That's literally the easiest thing to remember,
also,
right?
I think it was
Oh, wait, yeah, no, apparently Tiamat's dead in the Dungeons & Dragons lore as well.
Okay, dope. So they actually followed the real kind of story. Great.
Dope.
Yeah, so Tiamat has been vanquished for what appears to be at least 1,000 years. So the current, for the listeners, the current sort of D&D canon is the Forgotten Realms. That's the sort of, D&D 5e, that's the current edition lore. And according to the Forgotten Realms wiki, Tiamat died, it looks like just over 1,000 years ago. Allegedly, because it was over 1,000 years ago.
Really? Damn, okay.
Yeah.
Also,
all right.
I want to bring up how, like, Gold Moon, she, like, had a crisis of faith. She's like, I couldn't save the little girl because I didn't have faith. And I'm, like, sitting in my seat like, didn't you just say that God revived you? How do you not have faith?
Yeah, what the fuck? Why can't you save this little girl?
Exactly.
Yeah, the other part is like, what is the difference between their injuries if she, like, literally saved Chinese armor dude from not getting dead, right? Like, from, like, he's literally, like, his intestines are coming out bleeding from the stomach and lying in his own blood, and she's able to revive him and reincarnate him. And then you look at this little girl, she's just like, it doesn't hurt anymore, and then she dies. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, be consistent with your powers.
When the dude didn't have his arm, he's like, oh, thank you, you healed me. I'm like, oh, he's got his arm back. Cool. But no, he had a stump. He had a stump.
Did she roll a 2? Is that what happened? Is that she rolled?
Like, I always feel like fucking in high fantasy settings like Dungeons and Dragons, crisis of faith character arcs are always the most horse shit, because it's always like, I have the power of the gods, watch me shoot fucking lasers out of my cock, and then like 5 minutes later it's like, I don't know if I believe in God anymore. It's like, why?
Literally talk to them. You literally talk to them and you fucking use their power. How do you not believe them, you fucking asshole?
There's that one Rick and Morty episode where it's like, I'm a great warrior, this is my religion, please kill me. Morty's like, well, do you have any proof? And the guy runs off, and they literally see him get dragged to hell, and Morty's like, what did he mean they didn't have any proof? There was plenty of proof right there.
Yeah, like,
exactly.
Or what is it? It's like in the Rick and Morty, like the newer series, where it's like, what are y'all doing? Oh, we're going to kill the Christian god, and they're like, what do you mean? And like, Rick Sanchez, the avowed atheist for 4 seasons, is like, yeah, the Christian god is real, and we're gonna go kill him.
He's just been sleeping for a while. We're just gonna sneak up on him.
Yeah, he's just been sleeping. Like, what? Like, this is kind of what this is about. Like, then why are you a fucking atheist if you know the actual Christian God is real and all the biblical stuff that's canon is real too? What are you doing here? What is any of this, right? Like, be consistent.
Have y'all seen Invincible?
Yeah,
dude,
I love Invincible. It's such a good show.
Remember when they first introduced Damien Darkblood and Cecil's like, what's the matter? You afraid of the demon? I thought you were an atheist, Donald. And he goes, theoretically.
or like what is it, like how there are Marvel characters who are atheists when there's literally fucking Thor walking around Earth.
Yeah, fucking, like, right? You got Doctor Doom who literally fucking crawled himself out of hell,
right?
Like,
or even motherfucking Ghost Rider, who's literally a gatekeeper of hell, right? That's kind of a big one to be like, I don't believe it.
Mephistos. I'm pretty sure Mephistos might be like the devil spawn.
Right.
No, Mephisto is basically just the devil, and then there's Blackheart, who's his son.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Well, because like the other thing is that they even go into like Catholic dogma, right? The whole Seven Princes of Hell thing is a Catholic thing, and it's one of those things of like it's not widely discussed because people in medieval times when they would talk about the Catholic dogma about the Seven Princes of Hell and that kind of shit were executed for it. So Catholics don't really talk about it. So there's not a lot of stuff to know about the Seven Princes of Hell other than they might have been previous gods of other religions that were pagans back in the day, right? Like Baal is apparently Keranos, the Celtic god of nature and giveness and like, that stuff that we talked about on like the very first movie podcast with the fawn and that kind of stuff. And they made him a literal fucking demon because the Catholic Church has no chill, dude. Like, that's the thing.
What the fuck were we talking about? Dragonlance.
I thought it was stupid that Goldmoon had a crisis of faith. She's like, I didn't believe enough. And then we just went into every other stupid stupid incest of crisis of faith, even though there's blatant proof.
Right? Even though...
It looks like...
Stellar, go ahead.
I was gonna say it looks like we're coming up on an hour-ish, so still, we may want to think about what we're winding down with.
I'm gonna mention one last thing about this whole crisis of faith stuff, and then I'm just gonna shut the fuck up for the rest of the time. Okay? So here's the deal, right? That I have with the crisis of faith stuff. Like you said, I do believe they're bullshit because they literally talk to the gods and they literally do this kind of stuff. If the literal Christian God, right? If the literal Christian God was still here and still did things, and people still perform miracles back like they did in the biblical days, do you think there would be that many atheists around? No, there wouldn't. There wouldn't really be that many atheists around. You know why? Because there's, you fucking talk to these things. You fucking have evidence. You can see it, right? You know it to be true. And these Dungeons and Dragons quests, or even the fantasy quests where it's just I don't know, I have faith. Well, number one, guys, faith is just optimistic thinking. That's it. It's just optimistic thinking and nothing. It's optimistic thinking that there is no such thing, or that there's nothing out there that can make it any worse, but that, you have just this feeling that something's good is gonna come your way. And you know why faith is such a powerful thing? Because generally, you cannot have bad thing after bad thing after bad thing happen before something good happens. And so people normally think of that good thing as God answering them, or that kind of faith thing answering them. But these people are literally talking to gods. They are. Get the fuck out of here, dude. You're having a bad day. I don't care that you stubbed your toe. Don't reject your God because you stubbed your toe, right? That's I don't know. I understand. The thing is I hate it when, because you can still do a crisis of faith arc in a fantasy setting. It just can't be like a standard kind of crisis of faith kind of arc. Yeah.
What you have to do isn't I don't know if the gods exist. It's more so I don't know if I like my God, or I don't know if I trust my God, or I don't know if I want to follow my God.
But then find someone else, right? It's not that hard.
Exactly.
Another fantastic example. Dungeon Dynamite episode 1. Watch Dungeon Dynamite.
Correctly, I read this entire episode was actually an ad for Dungeon Dynamite. Everybody go watch Dungeon Dynamite.
Crazy Boris, our next guest.
Dude,
God, could you fucking imagine, dude?
I'm going to say this, and I think that this might be interesting. Is that I think you're right. The whole thing of the crisis of faith can happen and be interesting. Did y'all ever watch Vinland Saga, or actually read Vinland Saga?
I heard a lot about it, but I never got
around to
consuming it.
No, Vinland Saga is essentially it's this Norse tale of Thorfinn Skarlfinni, which is the guy who helped try to settle Canada. The Vikings back in the 800s tried to settle Canada, and he was the main guy that was trying to do it. And obviously there's some fantasy elements to this, but it's basically Viking poetry, Viking tales and stories told in anime form. And it's actually really good. If you haven't if you're not even into the Viking stuff, but you're into anime shit, it's really good. But one of the characters in it is a drunk Christian Franciscan monk who is with the Vikings and drinks all the time and is having a crisis of faith because, you know, they're in the real world, which means God doesn't talk to this guy. But then all of a sudden he sees something magnificent and then resumes his faith in God. And you start slowly seeing some of the men actually ask the priest about this, like, dead god that he wears around his neck. And that's a good crisis of faith movement to have, right? Mm-hmm. You have the buildup of the, I don't hear God. I've tried, I've prayed, I've been doing everything right, but nothing's happening. And then you have the magnanimous thing happen. I'm not going to spoil it. And then he starts preaching, and he starts preaching again because it's one of those things of like, yeah, no, I just need to like stop being a fucking dickhead and just do my job and just do my thing because, you know, God's just, you know, like that or whatever. He finds his truth or whatever. And that's a better story arc than whatever gold fuckface has in store. Yeah, so
and
I don't know.
Not to mention that her crisis of faith lasted for 3 minutes.
Yeah, like I said, it's emotional whiplash, my guy. This is what it is. So
yeah, I'd like to try to. If somebody came to me and was like, "Hey, can you turn this 450-page like Lord of the Rings epic novel into an hour-and-a-half screenplay?" I'd tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, I would have been like,
no.
Just do a TV show.
William,
that's what.
Yeah, just
William,
do a
this
show.
may never succeed. This is a business opportunity. Trilogy. Dude,
this thing could have been fucking serialized. They had 163 books.
Right. They could have, like, and it was really popular for. Obviously, the publication went from 1984 to 2011. Like that's.
And they're planning on reviving it.
Over,
they're talking about reviving it this year
or something like that. 40-something years.
Yeah.
So obviously, there's a market for it. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand how Hollywood works anymore. I used to think if it was popular enough that they would make it, and now they're just kind of like, I don't fucking know. Let's just do a line of coke and see where this goes. And that's what like.
Let's just do fucking anything. God.
Yeah, dude. So I don't know, like, but here, if y'all want to like kind of get this taste of fantasy out of like your mouth, like or like the Viking medieval kind of stuff, like whatever, dude. Like I'm serious. Just give Vinland Saga the 2-episode deal. Because I have a thing.
Hell
because
yeah.
I know that you know, and I know that a lot of people know, but to explain to the listeners, I have this rule when it comes to anime because as a person who works a lot and studies and reads and is trying to get into a PhD program now, I don't have a lot of time to spend on shitty anime. So what I do is I call the 2-episode rule. If I don't like it within 2 episodes, it's probably not worth my time. And that's like just watch 2 episodes.
I follow the same ethos, except I'm even more strict. I'm very picky about my anime, mainly because basically I get like I'll even give it like 1 episode.
Dude, even
and
the
just
theme
be like,
song is good. Like fuck, man.
If this theme song is not post-punk based or hot jazz, I ain't watching the anime.
I'm gonna post it in fucking chat, you fucking weebs.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like it's
if I end up watching this will be the first new anime I've watched since I've gotten back from Japan.
Watch Invincible.
I started. Fuck you! I fucking love Invincible.
Dude, watch Corey in the Big House. That's coming out in 2022.
Yeah. Let's fucking go.
I don't know. Yeah. Just listen to the OP, my guy. It will, like, it answers just kind of like, oh, shit, this is good. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so listeners, if you've gained anything from this episode other than an aneurysm, watch Vinland Saga and watch Dungeon Dynamite. If you watch those 2 things, and you will gain all the fulfillment you probably should have gotten from a movie based on an epic Dungeons and Dragons novel.
You can watch all of Dungeon Dynamite and it'll take up less time than Dragonlance.
Yeah, Dungeon Dynamite is like a series of like less than 10-minute animations.
It's just so fucking sad.
It's on YouTube.
That it's just so fucking sad that this book, which I'm sure, like, it's good, obviously, like, there are people who read it, so it has to be good for someone, that just got fucking made and just ruined, right? It's like people who are Green Lantern fans, essentially. Like, Green Lantern is a great comic book hero, and then the movie just like makes him the laughingstock of everything, right?
So bad that Ryan Reynolds committed suicide in Deadpool 2.
He sure did.
He sure, 100%, right? There you go. All right. Well, I'm out of things to be upset about because I just don't care. I just don't care anymore. Honestly, I've reached the point of my anger to apathy. So
no anger, no tears, only blood.
It is. We've reached the numb point. I'm glad I could come on the show and make us all feel completely numb inside because of all.
Is there anything else you want to bring up, Will, about the movie?
Let me think. That thing with the elf lady in the forest with Tannis was weird. It was kind of out of left
that was
field.
also out of left field. Of I want to marry you, and like she's obviously into him, and he's kind of into her, but he's like, they'll never accept us. Blah 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 blah.
And it's like the dude who's literally
I hated that because it's like, I want to marry you, Tannis. No. I am in love with that one bitch who refused to show up to our bar party. Wonder where she is. Oh, she's the antagonist of the next movie? Good.
All of a sudden, you just hear the theme song from Curb Your Enthusiasm play.
Exactly.
Dude, honestly, sometimes I feel like Nerd Hell is kind of one of these things of like literally I'm the person in hell. Robinson's just here to kind of like keep me company.
This is your own personal version of fucking the Eric Andre show.
I'm carrying. I'm just pushing the boat. I'm like, this man's really depressing me.
This man really do be satisfied.
Man, I need to raise my prices. 1 drachma? Really? I need at least 5 to deal with this guy. Before
holy shit,
this dude said you better have brought a fucking cart full of drachmas for this fucking boat.
All right, listen. I'll cut you a deal. If you get me an empanada, we'll square. All right, we'll square it.
Man, I just might as well share the boat with Scott the Woz. He also complains about random shit too.
Yeah. Scott the Woz is also in hell.
Yeah, like there's me and Scott the Woz just in hell for arguing over shitty Nintendo games for the rest of eternity. On Fox at ABC.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Coming to Netflix.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of Netflix, I know you're gonna make a live-action adaptation of this. Cast me as River Moon. Don't be a bitch. All right, there was racism in there. I'm Mexican. Trust me, I am. But
we can make you look like a Native American.
You can, yes.
So
Oh, dude, it's super easy to make you look. Aren't you basically Mayan?
Yes, I actually am. Yes. No, I'm Aztec.
We just got to We just got to get him the Great Plains drip, man. I'm telling you, that's all we got to do.
We got to get him some fucking. We'll give you like apparel from like every fucking Native American.
Yeah, we'll just give you like the crow's headdress, and then like the Nez Perce footwear. And then the motherfucking Apache, jerkin or something like that, and then just.
I'm sure we could get you some fucking like some Haida fucking parkas.
Honestly, this is the perfect getup. The tunic from the champion's tunic from Breath of the Wild, and nothing else. That's it. Just.
It's just Robinson just waving his dick around on screen.
in a shirt.
Robinson fucking cock out.
In a shirt that goes down to like my thighs, and they're like, he needs a longer shirt.
You guys need to like subtitle this episode like the not sponsored special.
Yeah.
I
think we need to subtitle. We need to subtitle this "Goblins Outside, bitch gonna go clean a bar" or something like that.
I already have my description for this episode. I'll share it with y'all later. But first, William.
Okay.
On Movie Butter, we have a tradition where we usually find bad reviews about the movie we watch. Because they usually are super funny. For example, in our Joker review, somebody wrote about a review basically making fun of mental patients.
Oh, no.
So,
I remember that one.
We had so many bad reviews to choose from. So I decided, you know what? Screw it. Let me find a good review. And I couldn't find one. Except So what I did was I just went to Google
Incredible.
reviews. So no full name, no company. This review comes from Bruce, who gave it 5 stars a year ago. Yes, Bruce watched this movie
Hell yeah.
in 2020 during quarantine.
Oh my god.
So, okay, where is it? The hardest part explaining this is that few of the characters are 100% good or bad, but often are seen in the chaotic neutral classification. Then he says, well written with lots of actions and twists and turns. So thank you, Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce.
Is he talking about the book or the movie?
He's talking
'Cause
about
I'm
the
like,
movie.
He's talking about the movie.
Okay, if
I
he's
saw
talking
the-
about
I
the
saw
book,
the
then I'd
review
be
he
like,
was
okay,
talking
sure,
about.
whatever.
He's
But if he's
talking
talking
about
about
the
the movie, I'm
movie.
like, dude, did we see the same movie?
Well, Bruce
Yeah.
watched it during quarantine when Game of Thrones came out, so
You know, I'm gonna bet that this guy was high off his fucking gourd while he watched
Bro,
this
Oh,
bro, he
God,
was so
yeah.
high. He tried smoking the gourd. He thought it was a really fat mushroom.
Nah, man, you can make a bong out of any fruit,
Oh, hell
right?
yeah.
So that's what he's doing. He's smoking the gourd, and then he's gonna eat it later for soup. I don't know.
Ooh, gourd, like soup, bread bowl, but instead of a bread bowl, a gourd bowl. Ooh.
Gourd coming to Panera. This fucking.
We're gonna charge $38 for it too.
That's it.
Like,
for the gourd bong bowl.
That's it. I own Panera now, bitches.
oh shit.
Just like how Soulja Boy owns Activision. Well,
Me.
God.
thank you all for listening, all 7 of you, which is me, Will, Stanley, 2 of our family members, and our 1 actual fan who isn't related to any of
know.
us.
I treasure.
Hell yeah.
I treasure that actual fan more than this girl treasures that healing partisan that apparently is a staff. I don't know.
That she lost 20 minutes into the movie.
I know, right?
I want that one fan to know that they're worth all of the stereotypical Native American garb we could possibly get our hands on.
No, it's fine. We can find all that clothes anywhere at the mall where they sell crystals or essential oils. Anyways,
You're right. You're absolutely
thank
right.
you so much. And another tradition is that on Nerd Hell, we give a very special go to hell to somebody of our choosing. I'm giving it to the entire writing staff of this movie. Y'all can go to hell.
I'll see you in hell, motherfuckers. Jesus Christ, you fucking assholes.
I want that one fan to download Photoshop and make that meme of Doom Guy and say, "Where the fuck are the writers?"
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.